Hey students, today I want to show you a kind of fun stress-free kind of drawing technique, and this is kind of trendy online right now. It's just kind of a way to process your stress and deal with it. So first of all, you're going to think of a problem. So maybe it's the fact that we're all stuck indoors right now and we can't get out, but think of a problem and think about how much that problem frustrates you. So my problem right now is that I really want to be in my classroom with my students, but I can't, and it makes me so frustrated that I'm just going to scribble on my page to represent how that makes me feel, okay? So as you can see, I'm pretty frustrated. So once I have that scribble, what I'm going to do is begin finding all of the angles in my scribble, all of the sharp angles, like right here. And I'm just going to round those out. And this is kind of tedious at first, it seems like. But then once you kind of get into it, you don't really have to think about what you're doing too much. You can just kind of lose yourself in your artwork and round out all of those angles, all of those corners. Get rid of all the tension in your picture. So as you're doing that, the artist that invented this technique invites you to use this as kind of like a art therapy kind of experience, and just kind of think about your problem and say, you know, how big is this problem really? Let's think about this. So right now, yeah, I'm stuck at home and I don't get to see all of my friends and all of my students, and that's a bummer. But while I'm doing this and thinking about this, I'm thinking, you know, we're all kind of in the same struggle right now. I'm not by myself in this struggle. All of my friends are going through the same thing. And so that's a little bit comforting to know that I'm not alone. It's a little bit comforting to realize that I'm not exactly stuck at home. I'm safe at home. That's an important difference. I'm safe. I have what I need. And I have extra of some things, so I'm not going to run out of the important things that I need. My family is safe. Right now, we're all feeling healthy. So I'm just rounding out all of those sharp edges. And I'm also going back over my line. You'll notice I'm using a marker for this. And if you don't have a marker, a pencil or a pen will work just fine. Even if all you have is like a crayon, you can still participate. You can still do this. And so this is kind of one of those abstract things. It's not supposed to necessarily look like anything. But when I get done with it, it's kind of cool. I'm not done yet, though. I have more steps. So just going to go ahead and get these angles rounded out. And the next part of my process is going to be what they call neurographic lines. And those are lines that you make that you don't really think about how you're drawing them, I guess, is the best way to describe it. You kind of make them with a relaxed hand and kind of just let the marker draw where it wants to. It's not something that you're super controlling. You're just kind of relaxing and letting it happen. So once I have all of my angles rounded out, then I'm going to start making some neurographic lines. And if I missed any, I can always go back and get those as I need to. So right here, I'm going to add a neurographic line. So it's like not super controlled. It's just kind of like goes wherever it wants. And what I'm going to do as I draw those neurographic lines is I'm going to remind myself that even though my problem seems really big to me, it may not be as big as it seems. It may be kind of small in the grand scheme of things. It may be that what seems like a big deal now is going to be something that later on it'll just be a memory that I can share with others, and you know, it'll have a happy ending, we hope, you know, whatever this problem is that you're making your drawing about. As those neurographic lines cross over other lines, and we're just going to round out those little corners that are created, those little angles. And so as I continue to add neurographic lines to my drawing, a few things are happening here. One thing is that I am not trying to be in control of every little mark, which is kind of satisfying in a weird way. And the other thing is my problem, my scribble, is not standing out on the page quite as much as it was. It's now kind of becoming part of my drawing. And I'm just going to think of things that, you know, I can be grateful for right now as I do my drawing. One of the things that I'm grateful for right now, it is super windy today. I'm listening to the wind and I'm thinking, you know, I'm glad that I am not outside in the wind. Glad I have a nice place to ride out the storm. I'm glad that I have some art materials to draw with. And, you know, something else that makes me happy, I'm glad that I can share some art and some art activities with my friends in the world. So I can share this video out to my friends and my family, and I can say, hey, come make some art with me. And even though I can't get together with my favorite Kepley Middle School artists and draw, I can draw with you guys. If you're drawing along with this video, even though it's not like live and you're drawing along, it's still kind of like we're drawing together, and that's kind of cool. I think I need one right here. So as I continue to add those neurographic lines and make my problem not stand out quite as much, the other thing that I can be doing is I can be looking for shapes that I might want to finish up. So here's like a curve. I'm just going to go ahead and make that into a circle because it seems like it wants to be. And that's kind of cool. You know, before I had to send everybody's artwork home and we had to spend a little time away from each other, there were a lot of Kepley Middle School artists that were making galaxies and things like that. And that was so cool. This kind of reminds me a little bit of like a galaxy or something like that. It's kind of, I don't know, it has kind of a science fiction feel. I don't know. So as I complete this and I continue to add the narrow graphic lines the way I like them, the next step is to add some color and just use what you have. A lot of artists that do this kind of artwork like to work with highlighters to color in their different sections. That's like their marker of choice, and I know a lot of you guys have those at home. I happen to have a wonderful box of colored pencils. I have a particular student that I'm thinking of right now because he loves the Crazy Art brand colored pencils, and I actually bought these to share with him at school. Some of you guys know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm going to color with my Crazy Art colored pencils, and I'm going to think of that particular student. His name begins with a T. If he's watching, he's going to get real excited because I'm using Crazy Art colored pencils. And I'm going to layer them to create different colors. Like this was red, and then I layered some yellow on top of it, and I'm going to let the yellow kind of make it orange and fade into the red and just fade out. And I'm not going to, you know, stick to a certain way of coloring this in. I'm just going to grab whichever color feels right. And I'm going to start coloring those sections in. And I don't know, I think this is going to be good. I'm excited about how my drawing is turning out, guys. So, hey, grab some paper. Even if it's only good on one side or one part of it, it still works. Grab some paper and draw with me. Okay? Happy art making! Post in the comments what you created. I love that stuff.